Hi folks, welcome back to Backyard Aviary Adventures. This one is an adventure. As we've mentioned in the past, we do quite a bit of exploring, both abroad and in the UK, and with everything getting a bit more expensive, we decided to try and find ways to go away a bit cheaper. So we decided to deck out the back of the car. We took the seats out, put in a few essentials, our sleeping stuff, and set off. We headed away from North Wales up towards the northeast. We set off on the Friday evening about 7 p.m. After driving more than 250 miles, we arrived at Bamber on the northeast coast about quarter to midnight. We fell asleep, and early in the morning we woke up to an amazing view of Bamber Castle. From here we went for breakfast in SEAHOUSES, a beautiful little coastal town. Looking out on the estuary, there were loads of birds, including these lovely eider ducks. We had breakfast and then we booked a trip to Staple Island on the Farne Islands. Luckily it was a calm day, which was great because I get a bit seasick. The sun was out, we got on the boat, it took about 45 minutes to get to Staple Island. The further we got out from the shore, the more birds that were on the sea. Lots of guillemots, eiders and puffins. Another treat on the way was to see the grey seals. They didn't seem at all bothered by the boat and we could get quite close to them. It was an incredible sight going up to Staple Island with all the puffins and guillemots and razorbills on the sea and all over the cliffs. We landed safely, took a walk up some steps with birds nesting close to the path on both sides. By far the most numerous bird was the guillemot. There were loads and loads of them, all nesting very closely to each other on cliff ledges, hustling and bustling, flying in and out. Amongst all these guillemots, there were a few that had white round the eye. These are called bridled guillemots and make up about 5% of the guillemots on the islands. We got to see the guillemot's eggs, which was amazing. They're very long and blue. They're shaped like this so they don't fall off the edges of the cliffs. On some flatter parts, there were some shags nesting. A shag is a bit like a cormorant, but smaller, sleeker, like a bottle green, and it's got a crest. A favourite bird on these islands is the puffin. There are about 40,000 breeding pairs of puffin on the Farne Islands, and there were a few on Staple Island. There was a couple that were being very photogenic near the steps from the boat. Others were flying in and flying back out, collecting sand eels from the sea. They're wonderful and very entertaining birds. Another bird that was there was the razorbill. Looks a bit like a guillemot, but with a wider bill, and it's black rather than a dark chocolate brown. These birds were very smart. There were quite a mix of gulls on the island, the most numerous being the kittiwake, which is a very clean looking white gull with black legs and red inside the mouth. Alongside these kittiwake were some bigger gulls like the ever-present herring gull, the greater blackback gull, and also lesser blackback gull. There were also a mix of terns nesting on the island, although I didn't get any footage of any. Before we went back to the boat, I made sure I got a snap of our favourite little puffin from the island. Then it was back to the boat. The trip back was really good, with loads of birds being seen on the edges of the cliffs and on the water. As Staple Island is one of the further islands out, we got to go past some of the inner islands and see some of the birds and seals on these islands. Also, the boat driver was very informative about the history of the Farne Islands, including some history about the famous grey starling who saved some sailors off the rocks many years ago. As we came closer to land, we stopped seeing the guillemots and puffins and razorbills and were left only with the eiders that were on the shore. It was an excellent boat trip. After a drink in my favourite pub in SEAHOUSES and a lovely picnic in the sun, we took a trip to a place called Long Nanny Turnhide. I'd heard reports that there was an American black tern there. The walk to the Turnhide was quite long and it was a hot day, but it was lovely. We saw lots of birds, skylarks and linnets. When we got to the hide, There were nesting Arctic terns, some little terns, although I didn't get any photographs of them, and apparently the black tern had been seen that day, although it wasn't there. So we stuck around for a while. After about 40 minutes, the black tern showed up. It flew around for a while and then briefly landed in front of us. Luckily, I was able to get a couple of quick photos. What a bird. After the long walk back, we took a quick trip over the causeway to Lindisfarne and Holy Island. By this time it was 6 o'clock, so we had a chippy dinner and then headed down south towards Scarborough. We were going to park up on the front at Scarborough, but it was horribly noisy and not very private. There were loads of boy races. So we went a little further down the coast and found a lovely quiet car park next to a caravan site. After a peaceful night's sleep and a really nice full English breakfast in a local cafe, we headed towards RSPB Bempton Cliffs. We went looking for a black-browed albatross. This bird has been back into the last few years and possibly the only one of its kind in the entire northern hemisphere. More about that later. When we got there, the albatross had been seen in the morning, but subsequently flown out to sea. So we started to have a walk around the reserve. It was very impressive, especially for taking photographs of seabirds. There is a massive gannet colony there. These birds are flying high over your heads and sometimes quite close. There are some brilliant viewing platforms so you can get a really good view of the cliffs. Other birds here are fulmar, razorbills, guillemots, puffins and kittiwakes. Shortly before we were about to leave, Albie, the albatross, very briefly turned up. He flew in, did a few laps along the cliffs, once coming very, very close to us, within a couple of arms' lengths, then flew out to sea. Everyone on site was very, very emotional and excited. It was an amazing thing to behold. This bird's natural habitat is the southern oceans, so it's very, very lost. But it seems to come to Bempton Cliffs every year or so for summer. We were over the moon and quite privileged to be in its presence. And just to add to that, we saw a lovely tree sparrow on the way back to the car. But then it was time to head home. After a rather tiring 3¼ hour drive, we finally got home. What an amazing weekend, some really cool birds, a great adventure. Sleeping in the car was fine. We do have a few modifications to make before the next adventure, so keep a lookout for the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and please subscribe.